Hello everyone, this is once again Yusuf, and thank you very much for the great feedback in terms of my last video. So, today, as you can see right now, I'm sitting on the rooftop and exceptional weather right now in Rawalpindi. So, this is my second video basically, and now this time I have a very different topic that I wanted to make video on. So today we will be more talking about reading books and how basically it helped me in terms of changing my life perspective. So there are a lot of books that I do have with me. I read them, a lot of them, and I would say it's great to be a bibliophile. When you read a lot of books, it really adds into your information, into your knowledge especially. So it was pretty much back in 2014 or 15 when I started reading books, and believe me, it really changed my life in terms of my way of thinking, my life perspective, how to even take something positive out of negative. So it's pretty much thing that really helps you out in terms of doing the transformation of your life for sure. And it really helps you to change your way of thinking. It really helps you to deal with a lot of things or kind of situations in your life where if you read a good book, obviously it really helps you out how to figure out certain things that may work or may not be working well with your life. So let's just start about my favorite books, how I started reading them. So the first book that I read, I remember that was back in 2014. That was Then I Was Guided. It is exceptional book because basically it is kind of a book. If you read it really gives you great perspective, especially now this book is on a topic basically that explains a schism between the different sects like Shia and Sunni, and it's a great book because basically the person who wrote it, uh, he's a person who did the research, okay, between the different theological differences, and at the end he figured out that it's not about what we hear about each other, it's about what we see, and that's something on practical grounds, rather than we just hear different things and we just disseminate them without having any certain research about it. So let me show you, for example. Now this is a book, and it's a must-read book for those wanting to have any, certain research based on theological aspects or cults. So here's a book, and it's surely one of the best book I have ever read, because it really changes your perspective. And by the way, it's a kind of book that pretty much was written by the person who himself actually confessed that there are a lot of things which were not true, or there were a lot of things which were being told to him, but in reality, when he went to the certain countries, he didn't see anything like that, and he was pretty much impressed by the certain things that uh, were pretty much happening in those countries when you see them live. So that is the first book which I read, and it's pretty much phenomenal. So if I go to the other book, which is again one of my favorite one, it's pretty much of a diplomatic book, and the author name is Shamshad Ahmad. He is ex-ambassador. He served as an ambassador for Pakistan. And here's the book. Its name is Pakistan and World Affairs. It's one of the brilliant book, I would say, in terms of the history of Muslims, how there were different invasions, or how actually the whole history about Muslims in terms of how they came to subcontinent. Okay, going retrospectively. So there is each and everything in here, and it is a very good book, as you can see from cover as well. It's very impressive, and this is a must read as well, as far as you wanted to know some certain things about the history. If you are pretty much interested in that. So this is one of the best book I would recommend to read. It's just phenomenal. And the best part about this book is the eloquence of writing is just outstanding. I mean, Samshad, after basically he put in each and every, thread of his experience in it, and it's just phenomenal book to read down. So it's pretty much a very good book, and I was highly impressed that I read this one. So it's a must read. Okay, it's available everywhere. You can just buy this one. So one of the best books I have read in terms of the history. So it's a must read for sure. So the third book basically is just a generic one, but that's pretty much about how to start a business, and that pretty much gives you idea in case if you want to pursue any business, or you're planning to have such kind of platform where you can start as a businessman. So this is a book. Now this is one of the best book. Why? Because if you read the topic, I mean the book topic itself, it says how to start a business without any money. So it's not that I would say that after reading this book you're gonna be a best businessman. That's not the case. But the thing here is that it really gives you a lot of ideas, and as I believe there is nothing important than an idea. In fact, there is nothing stronger than an idea. So this is one of the best book I would pretty much recommend for those people who want to pursue their business. So this is pretty much a phenomenal book to read down. So the author name is Rachel Bridge. Okay, so it's a must-read book as well. In terms of the business perspective, do give it a try. Now the third book is one of the best, and because of again the name of book is phenomenal. How to be a better leader. So if you're pretty much of a person who wants to improve his or her leadership skills, this is one of the best book, because it's basically on the leadership, what attributes you must have to be a good leader, what are the certain things that really urge others to pursue the leadership in the right way, what are the cons of the leadership. So it's a very good book, and it's written by Stephen Stern. Okay, and this is one of the best book as well in terms of the leadership. As you can see, it's pretty much not that much. Okay, if you talk about the pages, it's just 152 pages, and it's one of the best book I have read in terms of the leadership. So you should give it a try, especially for those who are pursuing their careers in terms of the management or any certain role where you're managing people, since it requires leadership skills. So this is the one of the best book I would recommend you to read out for sure. Now the next one, this is pretty much one of my top favorite book, and it's not only the favorite of mine, it's the global bestseller. And this one is the author is Simon Sinek, and it says start with why. Now that's pretty much of a phenomenal book, because it is based on leadership as well, and there are a lot of things in this book that would rather help you out in terms of pursuing your career. Again, the leadership things. This book is one of the best recommendation I would say to read out, and without any doubt it's a great book. And again, it's not that much, just we're just talking about roughly 240 pages, something around that. So this is a great book to read in terms of the leadership stuff, I would say. So do give it a try, because it's international, in fact global bestseller. So this is one of my other top recommendation. So the second last book I wanted to talk about, it is one of my top favorite. The reason for that, it really changes your perspective, for Pakistan, and it explains, the way we had, history retrospectively, how things changed, how Pakistan really changed its global position. So this is one and only, and one of my top reading book. In terms of the perspective on Pakistan, this is the best book. And after a long time, I read something which is pretty much positive about Pakistan. Now, author is one and only Maliha Lodhi. As we all know, she's ex-ambassador and one of the best veterans in terms of ambassadorship. So the name of book is pretty much outstanding, and it really fascinates you. Pakistan beyond the state, beyond the crisis state. So that's a phenomenal thing about this book. The name itself suggests it's something beyond the crisis state, where we have perceptions, stereotypes about Pakistan. Most of the people, in fact, abroad, they have their own perceptions. So this is a book which is pretty much must read in this regard, because it says a lot of positive things in Pakistan, about Pakistan, that we have. And again, the writing eloquence is phenomenal, because it's not just about Maliha Lodhi. There are a lot of other veterans who contributed as well into writing this book. So it is one of the best book if you wanted to read something on Pakistan, and it's full of positiveness. So that's one of the phenomenal book, and you should, in fact, you must read it. And it's a great book for sure. So one of my favorite in terms of perspective about Pakistan. So the last book, it's the top favorite of mine. First reason, it is written by Jordan B. Peterson. Actually, Jordan is known for his phenomenal, speaking skills. He's an outstanding person. He's basically a psychologist. He's basically a Canadian. So the book is phenomenal. It says 12 rules for life. Now, the best part about it is that if you actually read out this book, it pretty much gives you a feeling that, the author is trying to talk with you. He's giving you advices, okay, how to, live your life. And since in this book, he has stated 12 rules how to, live your life effectively. Who knows better than a psychologist? He's a very experienced person. He's one of the top known spokesperson. He's phenomenal when it comes to a lot of different topics like gender pay gap or feminism and a lot of other myths that we have in terms of our society. So he's just outstanding speaker. He has clarified a lot of perceptions or wrong perceptions that we had in terms of the gender differences. So he's one of the person that you must read. Again, this is my top favorite book. Jordan Peterson has been very impressive. Apart from this book, I do listen to his a lot of videos and lectures. So he's just a phenomenal person, an experienced veteran, and he really changed his life. I mean, if he talks about how his life was and how he changed his life, going towards a positive perspective. So it's a very important book. So these are the books, the one I read the most. Now, the best part is that it is very important nowadays to read out books. The reason for that, now, since we do waste, our time, especially youth, they do, waste their time by going to different sites like TikTok and the rest of that. So I think in the end, they do not get anything. So it's better to at least read books. It adds into your knowledge. It adds into your communication, your vocabulary, and a lot of things. So I would suggest it is very important to read books. If you talk about a lot of Western countries, people, kids, children, all of them, they read too much books. And that is why the way of thinking is pretty much different. If you compare that to us. The reason for that is we do not read that much books. That is, the difference between the life perspective. And it is very important that, we should read books, because it not only makes you a bibliophile, at the same time, it really gives you opportunity to figure out different things. It allows you to do the contemplation, in terms of your life. Which is surely very important, and that's what successful people do. They read out books, a lot of examples who pursued their good careers just because they were good at reading. So in short, it is very important that we should give some time to reading as well, because that adds value to our life, to our career, and it pretty much solves your a lot of issues or problems, because it suggests you, since the author, they give you their life experiences. So I would suggest it's very important rather than going to people. Read out books. There are a lot of books on every topic. You can have them online as well, and you can surely learn a lot of things. So read as much books you can, so that it might change your life perspective. So thank you very much. That's pretty much of it. Just wanted to tell how it really changed my life perspective. It really changed the way I think now, because in our society, since we have pretty much of surrounding where a lot of negativity around us. So in order to tackle that pretty much of negativity, it's very important you should read books, so that it really strengthens your way of thinking and rest of things in your personality, so that you can really live your life pretty much effectively. So read books as much as you can in order to live your life properly. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time, everyone. Have a good day.